Today we are going to see the taste physiology first. Next, the smell physiology. So, in the taste physiology, the sense of taste is nothing but the gustation, and umami is a kind of special taste where the food is mainly linked to the glutamate content, that is a cheesy and meaty taste. So, actually, the sense of taste is by the taste buds, of course, we know. So, the ones even the sense of the smell also is associated with the taste. If there is a nice smell, we attract towards the food. So they are like the texture of food and also the tactual senses of the mouth and the presence of the substance. For example, if you eat any pepper, it may also lead to the pain pathway again. So the primary sensations of the taste, according to the psychophysiological and neurophysiological studies, there are 13 types of chemical receptors. That is 2 sodium receptors, 2 potassium receptors, sodium, potassium, chloride. Sodium and potassium are 2, chloride is 1, and adenosine receptor is 1, inosine receptor is 1, sweet receptors are 2, bitter are 2, glutamate is 1, and the hydrogen ion receptors are 1. So why all this one we are going to see. So these are for the primary sensation of this, that is sour, salty, sweet, bitter, and umami. So these are the 5 types of taste, primary sensation of taste. So we can perceive the 100 different types of taste actually because of our taste buds. So the sour taste is mainly because of acids that we take. So it is because of the hydrogen ion. So whenever we eat any sour taste thing, first the hydrogen ion enters into our tongue, and it is the one which stimulates this taste receptors which is entering into our brain, and we can sense it. So approximately proportional to the logarithm of the hydrogen ion concentration, because hydrogen ion is the one which is stimulating it. So the more the acidic food, stronger the sour sensation becomes. So salty taste. Salty taste is mainly because of salt, salt, ionized salts. It's mainly because of sodium ion concentration. So sodium cations are the one which are stimulating this. So this is about salty taste. And sweety taste. Sweety taste is not caused by any single. Here you can say it in sour taste it is because of hydrogen ion. In salty taste it is because of sodium ion. But sweet taste is not like that. It is because of not only single class of chemicals. It is like a mixture of stimulants which stimulate this. So sugars, glycols, alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, amides, these are the one which like are sweety taste. And also esters, some amino acids, some small proteins like sulfonic acid, halogenated acids, inorganic salts of lead, beryllium, they also taste sweety. So actually these are all associated with the organic chemicals. We can't say a specific type of ion, but they are related to the organic chemicals. So sometimes an addition of a simple radical may change this whole complex, that is a sweet taste may suddenly change into a bitter taste just by adding a single simple radical. So this is about it. And next, coming to the bitter taste. The bitter taste is not caused by, this is also same like sweet taste. It is also not by any single type of chemical, but entirely it is also an organic substance. So here what are the bitter taste causing items are long chain organic substances which containing mainly nitrogen and also the alkaloids. So what are those alkaloids? Like you can take example quinine, caffeine, stretchine, and also nicotine. And there are also some different kind of substances, like in the initial time they are sweety, but after some time they turn into bitter. They are like example a true saccharin. So you can take this is an example. And the bitter taste is occurs in a high intensity. Of course you eat whenever bitter immediately. Why this is because it is a protective mechanism against most of the toxins are bitter taste. So it is a protective mechanism to protect us, so that whenever we put it in our mouth we throw it away, so we reject the food. So this reaction is undoubtedly an important function for our protection, mainly about deadly and poisonous toxins. So alkaloids are the one which are intensively bitter taste and followed by rejection of the food. And next, coming to a special umami taste. Actually it's a Japanese word that is meaning delicious. So cheese, meat, they are very delicious. So it is a pleasant taste sensation. So this is mainly because of containing L-glutamate. So meat contains that kind of taste, meat, cheesy extracts, etc. So separate fifth category. So it is a separate fifth category of the taste. So the taste receptors for the L-glutamate receptors also expressed in the neuronal synapse of the brain, but still the studies are unclear. And next, coming to the threshold. What is the threshold for the sour taste? Sour taste is by hydrochloric acid, averages about 0.0009 N, and the stimulation of salty taste by sodium chloride is by 0.01 M. There N, here M. And the sweet taste by sucrose is 0.01 M, and the bitter taste by quinine is 0.0. So you can see the more sensitive one is a bitter taste. So you can see the more sensitive is a bitter taste, that is 0.01 1 2 3 4 5 0.8. So it is the most sensitive one. So then all others, because we need to reject it, is a protective mechanism. And next, relative taste indices. What is it? It is nothing but it is a reciprocal of the taste threshold. So this is a taste threshold, and the reciprocal, that is opposite to it, nothing but the relative taste indices. And next, taste blindness. As the name says, blindness means we can't taste it. So this taste blindness are nothing but in a type of thiourea compound. So what are this? The phenyl carbamide is a substance but which we put on our mouth. It doesn't taste anything. 50 to 30% people exhibit the taste blindness, that is they are not able to taste it. This is nothing but the taste blindness, and this example is important, that is phenyl carbamide. And next, the exact percentage depends on the method, and also it depends on the type of testing and also concentration of substance we use sometimes. And the taste bud and its functions. So actually the taste bud has a diameter of 1 by 30 millimeters and the length of 1 by 16, and it has 50 modified epithelial cells. 50 modified epithelium cells with supporting cells called sustentacular cells. So the supporting cells are the sustentacular cells, and it contains 50 modified epithelial cells, and others of which are the taste cells. Of course, in taste buds there are taste cells too. So the taste cells are continually being replaced by mitotic divisions. So always there are almost young cells for our taste, but only some mature cells are also present, which are usually present in our center of the bud. So this is a diagram you can see. Now we are going to learn about it. And they break up and dissolve. So the mature ones usually break up and dissolve. Always the young one are present. So we are able to effectively taste the new substances. And the lifespan of each taste bud is only 10 days in lower mammals, but is unknown for humans. It is about mammals, that also lower mammals, which is only for every 10 days the taste cells are repeatedly changing because of the mitotic divisions. And the outer tips of the taste cells are arranged around a minute taste pore. Here you can see this is a minute taste pore, and the outer tips, where are they? From the tip of each taste cell. So the outer tips of the taste cells are arranged around a minute taste pore. Here you can see the minute taste pore. Around this the outer cells are arranged, and they are having several microvillar taste hairs. So this microvillar taste hairs from around this taste pore, they come like this and they form a taste pore here and outward into a taste pore and approach the cavity of the mouth. So this taste pore is towards the side of our mouth, and these microvilli provide the receptor surface for the taste. So this is the pore which is facilitating the taste for us. And next, interwoven around the bodies of the taste cells is a branching terminal network of taste nerve fibers. Of course, to get the taste, we need to have the nerve fibers around it, which is carrying the information to the brain, so that we can have that we can find out whether what taste it is. So there are also taste nerve fibers around them, stimulated by the taste receptor cells. And the fibers invaginate into folds and form the taste cell membranes. So there are also taste cell membranes around it. Many vesicles form beneath the cell membrane near the fibers, and also the vesicles are formed which containing the neurotransmitter. So this is released to the cell membrane to excite the nerve fiber endings in response to the taste stimulation. So these vesicles are what which is releasing the taste sensation, and we are able to taste it. And the location of the taste buds. So where the taste buds are located, we know there are 3 types of taste buds in a tongue. For example, you think this as a tongue. So the anterior part is having the folate papillae, and the sides we are having the anterior part we are having the fungiform papillae, and sides foliate papillae, and the V-shaped circumvallate papillae. So this is all about this here. And in adults there are about 3,000 to 10,000 taste buds, and the children have few more, but beyond the age about 45 years the taste buds usually degenerate. So adults lose their sensitivity to taste and so decrease in the old age. And next, specificity of taste buds for a primary taste stimulus. So the microelectrode studies from a single taste bud says that each taste bud usually respond mostly to one of the 5 primary tastes. So we know the sour, salty, bitter, umami taste. So from this anything can be, for sure it will be identified by one of our taste bud. Even when it is in the low concentration, this is important. When it is in low concentration, even at least it can it can get the stimuli of at least one taste. So however, at a high concentration, most buds can excited by 2 or more. Of course, when they are high, two or more can also stimulate them. So as well as by few other taste stimuli that do not fit into the primary categories. And next coming to the stimulation of taste bud, that is the receptor potential. So the membrane of the taste cell is negatively charged at first, but because of this taste depolarization takes place and leading to its activation, that is leading to its stimulation. So the depolarization is nothing but which is helping us to detect the taste. So decrease in the potential in the wide range and proportional to the logarithm of concentration. So this stimulates the substance. So the change in the electrical potential in the taste cell is called the receptor potential for the taste. So this mechanism is called receptor potential for the taste. And the mechanism by which most stimulating substances react with the taste villi to initiate the receptor potential is by binding of the taste chemical to the protein receptor molecules on the outer surface of the taste receptor cell near to the protruding through a villous membrane. So what this does is it also depolarizes and leads to release of the saliva. So the taste chemical gradually washed away from the taste villus by the saliva. Actually first whenever the stimulating particle is present in our mouth, till that time it is activated, but whenever because of saliva the taste stimulus washes away. And next the type of taste. For example, in sodium ions and hydrogen ions, they elicit the salty taste and the sour taste sensations. So receptor proteins open the specific ion channels on the apical membranes of the taste cells and activating the receptors. So however, sweet and bitter taste sensations are the portion of the receptor protein molecules that produce through the apical membranes and activate the second messenger. So only the sweet and bitter taste are the one which also activate the second messenger transmitter substances like inside the taste cells, and the second messengers cause the intracellular chemical changes that elicit the taste signals. So for sour and salty taste there are no second messengers, but for the sweet and bitter taste the second messengers are also needed. And the generation of nerve impulse by the taste bud. So the rate of discharge of the nerve fibers from the taste buds reaches a peak in a small fraction of second, but when adapts with the next few seconds back to the. So for example, you can take whenever we put anything in the first time in our mouth, we get a nice taste of it, but later it slowly disappears because of the decrease in the potential of the stimulants. So thus a strong immediate signal is transmitted by the taste nerve. Why we are getting the strong stimulus at the starting is because at the time the taste nerve is taking the impulse to the brain, but then the weaker continuous signal is transmitted as long as the taste bud is exposed to the taste stimulus. But later as the taste stimulus is getting adapted, this is known as adaptation of taste, because when it is getting adapted we slowly it becomes weaker. And the transmission of taste signals into central nervous system. So how this taste impulse is going to our central nervous system? So actually the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, from the anterior part, here you can see this is the anterior part. From the anterior part of the tongue the signals are going via first order neurons, that is by lingual nerve of the facial nerve, by cordia tympani, and finally into the tractus solitarius nucleus. So where it is reaching to the tractus solitarius, that is the first order neuron is reaching to the tractus solitarius, but a slightly more posterior level, that is in the posterior level it is because of glossopharyngeal nerve, that is the ninth cranial nerve. So glossopharyngeal nerve is the first order neuron which is taking from the posterior part of the tongue to the tractus solitarius, and slightly more posterior level by few taste signals are transmitted into tractus solitarius, and by other parts of the tongue by the vagus nerve. So what are the three nerves which are related to the taste impulse traveling to the brain are: first one is the lingual nerve of the facial nerve by corda tympani, it is reaching to the tractus solitarius, and from the posterior part it is the glossopharyngeal nerve which is reaching to the tractus solitarius, even this is a first order neuron. And next one is the vagus nerve which is the 10th cranial nerve which is also taking the first order impulse to the tractus solitarius. And next all this taste fibers synapse in the posterior brainstem, that is in the nuclei of tractus solitarius. So all these three nerves get synapsed at the tractus solitarius, and this send the second order neurons to the small area of the ventral posterior medial nucleus at the thalamus. So at the posterior ventral nucleus of the thalamus this second order neurons reach there, and the medial to the thalamic terminations of the facial of the dorsal column medial lemniscus system, the lower tip of the posterior central gyrus in the parietal cerebral cortex. So finally this second order neurons reach to the cerebral cortex. In this diagram we can understand it. So first from this from tongue they reach to, these are the first order neurons, they reach to the tractus solitarius, that is the vagus nerve, the hypoglosopharyngeal nerve, and the lingual nerve of the facial nerve, that is 7, 9 and 10. So these three nerves get synapsed in the tractus solitarius, and after synapsing this they reach into the posterior part of the thalamus, posterior ventral part of the thalamus, and from there they reach to the parietal of the cortex. So this is the pathway of taste. So this is reaching deep into the Sylvanian fissure, that is adjacent to the opercula insular area, that is of the area 1, that is rostral to the area of tongue, tactile signals in the cerebral somatic area 1. So this is evident that parallel to the somatosensory pathways from the tongue. So this is all about. And next we have the taste reflexes are integrated in brainstem. So from the tractus solitarius many taste signals are transmitted within the brainstem directly into the superior and inferior salivatory nucleus, and areas transmit signals to the, so from this they also reach the salivatory nucleus, from there they also reach the submandibular, sublingual, parotid. So why they are reaching there? To produce the saliva and help in digestion and also ingestion of that food. And next, the rapid adaptation of taste. So what is this? It is familiar with for some minute if we are continuously eating, that is habituated or adaptable to us. So this is nothing but adaptation. So the adaptation of taste with themselves usually accounts for no more than about half of its rapid taste adaptation. So final extreme degree of adaptation that occurs in the sensation of taste almost extremely occurs in the central nervous system. Mechanisms are still unknown. So at any rate, it is a mechanism different from the many other sensory system which adapts almost entirely at receptors level. And disorders of taste, what are these? Here we have some people are unable to taste something, some food items linked to distortion of taste. So if there is loss of ability to taste, then it is known as ageusia, and it is reduced ability, this here completely lost, then ageusia. A means loss, reduced ability, decrease, hypo, reduce means hypogeusia, and disordered means somewhat changed taste, then there is dysgeusia. So disordered dysgeusia, DD. And the conditions can appear due to advanced age or medication. Some medications may also lead to this and constitute an important threat to the quality of life. So this is all about taste physiology.